In your job as Bama beat writer for SEC Country, you cover more than football, and I want to get to basketball and baseball in a moment. But let's start with football because I've talked to a number of people. Of course, I'm here too, but in my job as a sportscaster TV station, I can't just focus strictly on Alabama or here on the radio. I have to talk about other subjects, but you pretty much are able to do that. And watching this football program evolve under Nick Saban has been amazing to me, particularly this year. I mean, you win the national championship, and then the wheels were already in motion with Jeremy Pruitt taking off immediately to Knoxville, this coaching turnover, the way he's gone about rebuilding this staff. I say kind of like kicking the tires and just trying some new things. I think that's what keeps Nick Saban at the top is even though he's got a process that he believes in, he's willing to take chances. We've seen it with Lane Kiffin. We've seen it with others. What do you make of the rebuilding of this staff and how he's kind of reshaping Alabama football following this latest national championship?
You know, it's almost like when he first got at Alabama. Almost, it's kind of, you know, it's he's obviously gotten younger with the staff. He is putting the emphasis back on recruiting, which, a little bit of a bump in the road this year, although I think a lot of that also had to do just with necessity because they had obvious holes that they had to fill, and they weren't some of the so-called sexy positions, that you have in football. But it's kind of interesting to me. He has sent just a loud message this offseason of, I'm not going anywhere. And we heard it at the parade. We've seen it with all the coaching moves that he's done, and it's we just saw it's kind of interesting because I did a story yesterday for SEC Country where I updated the numbers off the Decade of Dominance series that we did last summer, which basically the idea was we're going to do a 10-part series and we're going to try to see if we can prove if this is the best decade that college football has ever seen, and the numbers backed it up. It clearly was, and that was before this last year. And so a lot of the numbers are fresh in my mind because I just, like I said, I was updating it yesterday. And what he's done has never been seen before. And he's not – it's clear he's not done. And it's going to be remarkable to see how much longer they can extend this. A stat like 10 straight years of being ranked number one at some point in the season. That's a record in college football. No other program has done it for more than 7 years. And then the third place team did it for 5 straight years. It's just it's unheard of, and it's the numbers have gotten to the point that you almost have to laugh at it because they're so ridiculous. It's just been so impressive.
It really has been. It's been incredible. You mentioned the staff getting younger and the fact that recruiting based on Alabama standards did drop off a little bit. At least that's the perception based on the class rankings. Do you think this staff was put together? I know he wants good coaches, but do you think he put this staff together with an eye on improving recruiting, getting younger, as you said, getting guys that maybe want to get out on the road with a little more enthusiasm? Do you think this staff is being built recruiting one, coaching ability second? Is that maybe a fair assessment?
Yeah. In fact, I think just about every decision Saban makes, he has recruiting, and not just in the back of his head. It's out in the forefront, and that includes like the weight room is a perfect example of that. Did Alabama necessarily need a weight room? Well, it depends on who you talk to, but they have this beautiful facility now for the last few years. And
yeah.
Granted, that's kind of old news, but the number one reason why I think they built that facility was for recruiting. I think it's hands down, and now they're adding on to the building again, and the latest things. Oh, they're gonna have a barber place. Guys get their hair cut. I think all these things have to do with the recruiting. So when you look at the coaching moves in particular, granted, not every single coach that he's had on the staff has been a great recruiter. That doesn't mean that they can't do it. It's just some are better than others, but. Top to bottom, you look at the group that he's putting together now. Yeah, I think it is clearly, on the top of his brain. And next year, if Alabama is at number 1 or number 2 in recruiting, I will be shocked.
Me too. I'm with you. Bama men's basketball, I think the assumption is that they're going to get into the tournament. I believe they will, but you don't want to go in for these last 4 games, that's for sure. At Auburn tonight, what do you think of the Tide's chances of winning there after they've already beaten Auburn here in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, this is going to be quite a game to watch because Auburn's sore after losing in Tuscaloosa. They've only lost 4 games, but they also have a big injury that they just are going through. So I think the Tigers are going to come out fired up. It's really going to be fun to watch. I think the guards go especially at each other, and especially these young guys. And Colin Sexton's going to be going against a former high school teammate. This is going to be a great game. I think this is one of those. I think it's going to be 2 points either way. It's going to be that tight. So tough schedule for Alabama coming up. On these last 4 games though, and there's definitely no gimmies in any of them.
No doubt. I got Coach Bohannon coming up at the bottom of the hour, but I want to ask you one baseball question, not so much about the record, although they're off to a great start at 4-0, but after the tough season last year, and I don't want to beat up on Greg Goff. It just didn't work for whatever reason. But I do think one thing we see through 4 games, in addition to good baseball on the field, is just the fact that the players really seem to be having fun again. Have you picked up on that?
Yeah, and it's funny because I haven't been able to see them play a game yet, but I've been out there talking to some of the players and been around the coaches and talking to some people behind the scenes, and they say it's a night and day difference. And it's just the guys, like you said, they're enjoying playing. And from what I've been seeing and hearing, it's little things, like pitchers are throwing strikes and you don't see really, I don't want to say bad base running moves, but things that make you really scratch your head and kind of go, what were they thinking of that? So it's great that I don't know how much they're going to win this year. I think it's going to take them a couple years to get to where they want to be, but at least they're fun to watch. And basketball is a perfect example of that. It's the basketball team at Alabama is so fun to watch now, and it makes all the difference.
Follow Christopher Walsh on Twitter at Writing Walsh, also, of course, at SEC Country. And pick up the book, the latest, The Bama Dynasty, The Crimson Tide's Road to College Football Immortality, Nick Saban's 5 championship teams, special commemorative edition, available at bookstores everywhere. Thank you so much, Christopher.
Thank you.